What's up, y'all? So I'm starting off the next vlog series for 2023 prep for the Honda Challenge H2 NASA Northeast Racing Series. So welcome to scenic South Jersey, one of my least favorite places to be. Unfortunately, I live here, but we are in the garage, and I kind of wanted to go over some things that I'm going to be doing to prepare for championships in 2023 and to be preparing for the season as well. So the first thing we have here is obviously a mess, but I got these Willwood calipers from Dylan Dewson, and they are the Dynalite cotter pin calipers. And originally what I was doing was I was running these Civic LX knuckles with these calipers and a caliper bracket to run a mini rotor. It was really good. The pedal feel was really good, but we had these used pads, and it says they are HB100 black. There's a part number on them, but they did not feel like DTC 60s. They're Hawks, but it felt like braking on rocks. Regardless, I was still able to run a 132.5 in pretty cool weather. I wouldn't say it's track record territory for the weather. I would say that it's pretty close. I would say that the car is probably not a front runner as it sits, but it's getting there. You know, I can go around turn 3 flat, turn 4 is 3 to 4 miles an hour faster than min speed than it was last year, at the beginning of the season. Turn 2 is almost flat at Thunderbolt. So, this car is come a long way. In addition to that, I recently purchased this. This is a 1999 JDM Integra Type R motor. Now, as some of you know, the prices on these motors have gone up significantly in the past couple of years, primarily due to COVID supply chains and shipping issues, and also due to availability. They are very old motors. They don't make a lot of them. Well, they don't make them anymore. They didn't make a lot of them to begin with. But I have it torn down for the most part for inspection. I am going to leave the valves in for now and just replace the springs with some stiffer springs and keep the retainers OEM, the keepers OEM, and then the head should be good. But I checked the flatness, I checked the cylinder walls, I checked the bearing material on the pan, I checked for radial play on the rods, and it all seemed pretty solid. Now, some of you may be wondering, why did I decide to put a JDM Type R in my car? Why am I going with the JDM R? So JDM Rs are expensive, as everyone knows, and if I misshift the JDM R or break the motor, it's a potentially $4,000 to $5,000 mistake. That's on marketplace. Prices don't go lower than $4,000, and if they do, it's a crackhead deal and people buy it. So why did I buy it? A couple reasons. It was a good deal. That was the first thing. The way that the price was for the motor, including a financing deal that I was able to secure through eBay, made it so that the interest expense and the actual principal expense of the motor was not that much larger than what you'd be paying on the market, much lower than what you'd be paying from an importer. And this motor was from an importer. So I decided, not a bad idea. I'm going to get the purchase protection from eBay. Within 4 days of receiving it, it was delivered to my house. I took it apart just to make sure it wasn't messed up. It was in good shape, and so I can say that my purchase was a pretty decent one. In addition to spreading out the cash flows to make the impact less on my racing program and my budget in general, the financing expense was not very large. I compared the financing expense to my time expense, and also the frustration and space that I would have to deal with if I were to buy a parts car with a Type R already in it, because that was my other option. So it was to buy a parts car with the Type R, drive down to another state, potentially 3 to 4 hours driving, 2 to 4 hours, whatever. There are no cars in the South Jersey area. They're all down south, and if they're up here, they're expensive. So, you got to drive 2 to 3 hours, 4 hours one way with a tow dolly. So you got to worry about driving an empty tow dolly down. It's kind of sketchy with a full tow dolly, let alone an empty one. Tow it back, take the motor out, make sure the motor's good. The motor could still be bad from a car like that, right? Then you got to take the car apart. You got to part the car out, so you got to have space to put the car, space to put the parts for the car. So I decided that buying a parts car with my obligations, I'm an MBA student, I work a full-time job, I decided it's probably not a good idea. The other option was to go K-Swap. K-Swap is a very attractive option, and in 2024, I plan to be running a K-Swap in the car. But with 2023 right around the corner, and with not a lot of development time because I had some electrical issues and some personal problems this year that held me back from developing the car fully, I decided that it wouldn't be feasible to put a K-Swap in the car and get it all done, sell all my B-Series stuff because we're heading into a recession, buy all of the K-Series stuff. It would have ended up being probably more money than just going for a Type R, for this specific Type R anyway. So long term, I will probably be buying K-Series parts up, spreading out the cash flows by buying stuff as I go. I do have a K20A3 sitting in the corner of the garage. I will probably go K24A1 or A4 though, and I will slowly sell off the B-Series stuff. But when I go to Champs in 2023, hopefully, fingers crossed, I will have a GSR as my spare motor with Type R cams, and then I will have the Type R as my primary motor. And so I'm going to make sure that I run it as reliably as possible, drive the car like I've been driving, which is, knock on palm. I don't want to knock on the wood because it's holding my phone, but knock on something. Hopefully I don't damage the motor. And it's just kind of a cost of racing, I realized that the total cost I would have spent on a K-Swap would have been more money anyway. And I realized that if I do keep the B-Series motors in good shape, I will be able to sell them for potentially more than I paid for them anyway. So it made sense. I'm not saying that going Type R is the right way for everyone in H2, but it made sense for me. I see how fast the Type R is in the straight line. I see that the GSR minimum weight doesn't make a huge difference to cover for the lack of straight line speed. And I can't fit a 17-inch tire under this car, 17-inch wheel under this car. So I have to stick with the 15-inch wheel and tire combo. I have to stick with the widths that I'm running and on the wheels and the tires. And so for that purpose, for this car, a Type R right now makes the most sense. And again, K24 is probably the way of the future. But I said I was working with brakes, right? So what we are doing now is we're just test fitting wheels. So these don't fit, the Team Dynamics do fit, and the Rotas fit, all spaced out to 30 offset, plus 30 millimeters. This is a floating rotor setup with a drag caliper bracket and a Dynalite caliper on an Integra knuckle. So I'm gonna pull this wheel off and show you guys what I'm talking about. Battery's dead. Anyone looking to trade a Milwaukee for a DeWalt, let me know. Okay, so we have the wheel taken off, and I'm going to show you guys what I have going on for the setup. So this is an Integra knuckle, PCI uppers, kingpin lowers, pretty standard, front pack, mid pack, Honda Challenge stuff for H2 on one of these Golden Era chassis. Now, to make this all fit, so the first thing I had to do was figure out the caliper spacing. So these are Home Depot washers combined with Willwood shims, all measured out to about, I think it's 0.25, so a quarter of an inch spaced. So that's how I spaced the bracket out. And then this is a 11.75 inch rotor, about 0.81 inches in thickness. And I borrowed this from my friend Tony. Thank you, Tony. And then this is the Dynalite caliper. Now, as you can see, I had to grind it down. This is quite common when you're running a 15-inch wheel. All of these black marks are from the wheels that don't fit, which is like this rain tire and this practice set wheel. So those, I'm gonna have to replace those, but I was able to grind it down. My point of reference was a Rota. I wanted to make the Rota slip fit because I was told that the Rota slip should fit by other people who ran this kit, ground it down to make it fit for the offset that I run. And it's not a ton of material removed, but hopefully it holds. Otherwise I'm crashing and dying. But yeah, so had basically, put the wheel on, saw where it was rubbing, took this cutoff wheel, ground it down, painted it, put the wheel back on, then spun it, pulled it off, see where it was rubbing, ground it down again, and you basically repeat that over and over again. So, we are going to be able to run PFC01s, Carbotex, G-Locks, Willwood, Hawk, Ray Best, any compound basically, as opposed to what I had before, which was essentially these Type Rs up here. So now the Type Rs were great. I was able to get them to work fairly well with the help of a friend, Darren Ardinger, who used to race Honda Challenge and still has his car. He's down in Mid-Atlantic, and he helped me basically figure out how to get the car working on an all OEM brake caliper setup. It worked very well at Watkins Glen, I would say, but the pedal feel was trash. To make it work very well, pardon the mess inside my car, there's a splitter, but I did a bias valve. So I replumbed the whole car so that I could do a bias valve, and then I played with pad compounds in the rear and in the front so that I could get the car to squat into corners. It's very stable. And then other things that you guys might not have seen since I ended my last vlog. This is a swan neck wing. This wing was custom made by my friend Diego, and Diego is in Buffalo, New York, and basically this wing, it was 3D printed. As you can see, it's kind of separating here. Then we took aluminum dowels along the length of the wing, and we squeezed it together, the aluminum dowels. Then I took epoxy, and I skim coated it with epoxy, just JB Weld. And then the uncovered areas, I just took fiberglass resin, covered them up just to make sure it wouldn't get damaged. We had 2 revisions of these swan neck mounts. The first one overhung the back of the bumper, so it was illegal for the class. So what I did was I just measured with the tape measure, and I said, hey, Diego, I need you to move the wing up 5 inches or so. He moved it. It's legal. So, and then these are just birch wood. All of this stuff, this, and this, the end plate. This is all cut from a website called Send Cut Send. Birch wood is laser cut. These are plasma cut, and yeah, all the hardware is Home Depot, and then these L brackets are aluminum that I bought from Home Depot as well. Just drilled it in, and it fits very well. So yeah, that's it for now. It is getting cold out. We have one event before the end of the season, so I do need to drop the transmission. I'm going to put a better final drive in the car. I've been running a very long final drive for this class all season because I didn't have access to anything else, and I didn't have time to put in the shorter final drive that I did buy later on from Jackie. Thank you, Jackie, for giving me that 4.9 for a good price. 5.1 would be ideal for this car with the current tire size I'm running, but 4.9 will do for now. I'm going to see how much better it makes the car. I was able to run a fast time at Thunderbolt. The car is getting to where I want it to be, but it's not 100% there. So we're going to keep working on it. We have some stout competition in the Northeast this year. I do believe I have the driving to pull it off, although there's always room, right? You know, I look at data from the beginning of the season and the end of the season, and I say, wow, I sucked at driving because I was rusty. And now I look at my driving and I'm like, yeah, I'm good, but probably look at it next year and be like, wow, you suck. So yeah, I think I have the driving to make it happen, but some small tweaks to the car, and I think it'll get there. And then in the off season, one more thing that I'm going to be doing is the car had a pretty bad accident. So like the left quarter got damaged. So I have 2 quarter panels just chilling in my backyard, and got to do the lawn today. But yeah, 2 quarter panels, and I'm going to weld a new quarter panel in and then put Lexan in the car. That way I can get it weighted up where I wanted it. Take weight off the top of the car, put it at the bottom of the car, improve the center of gravity. Throw a Type R in it and let her rip. So thanks for watching. I will continue to run this vlog series, assuming I have no personal issues next year, or everything goes well. So pray for me. I'm hoping that I can make a run for it. You know, I think I was too immature to make runs for the regional championship in the past years where I ran H4, and I definitely had the pace. I was able to get on a national podium, which is okay. Out of 6 cars, it's not bad. But I would like to, you know, be a little bit more competitive, and I'm hoping that, you know, with maturity and growth, now that I'm older, I should be able to get somewhere. So wish me luck, and thank you guys so much for following the Instagram and the channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't, and let me know if you want to see anything. If you have anything you want to send me, if you have anything you want to show me, if you have anything you want to feature on the channel, let me know, and I'll help you out. Anyway, take it easy. This is EJ2 Track Rat out.